Well, it's that time of year again. Annual review season. Let me guess. More responsibilities, same 2 to 3% raise, and a list of ways that you're not measuring up. Sound familiar? I'm Randy Lovelace. I've spent 27 years in nursing, from bedside care all the way to the C-suite. I've sat on both sides of that annual review table, as the nurse being reviewed and as the executive delivering those reviews. And I can tell you something that nobody wants to admit. The system, it's designed to keep you feeling inadequate while paying you as little as possible. And today I want to talk about the soul-crushing reality of annual nursing performance reviews, why they're so demoralizing, and what you can do about it. So let me paint a picture that probably feels painfully familiar to you. You get an email or a calendar invite, annual performance review, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Your stomach drops. Even if you know you've done great work, there's still that anxiety. What are they going to criticize this time? What impossible new expectations are they going to add? You sit down with your manager, they pull out a form, that standardized evaluation that reduces your entire year of work, patient care with hundreds of different circumstances, your expertise that you've worked so hard to obtain, your dedication to a series of check boxes and ratings, and they reduce it down to a standardized form. They start with the positives. Maybe you're a great team player. Patients appreciate your care, but then comes the pivot. But we need you to work on your time management. But your documentation could be more detailed. But we'd like to see you take on more leadership responsibilities. But you seem a little grumpy and stressed sometimes. It doesn't seem to matter that you've already committed to working these 12-hour shifts that regularly turn into 13 or 14, that you're driving 45 minutes just to get into work. And it doesn't matter that you're constantly short-staffed every single day. It doesn't matter that you're doing the work of 2 nurses because positions aren't being filled. There's always something you're not doing well enough. And then comes the compensation discussion. After listing all the ways you need to improve, after acknowledging how hard you work, after recognizing your value to the team, we're pleased to offer you a 2% or 2.5% or a 3% merit increase this year. On a $30 an hour wage, that's like 75 cents an hour. What, $1,500 per year before taxes? Meanwhile, inflation is running 5 to 7%. Which means you're actually making less money in real terms, despite your merit increase. So let me explain what's really happening in these reviews, because once you understand the game, you can decide whether you want to keep playing it or not. I don't. Listen, annual reviews are designed to keep you feeling not quite good enough. Why? Because satisfied employees, what do? You ask for raises. Confident employees have leverage. Employees who know their worth, they might leave for something better. But employees who feel like they're always falling a little short, they work harder for the same pay, hoping next year they'll be able to finally measure up. And notice how every year there are new competencies, new expectations, new standards. You mastered last year's goals. This year, they add 3 more. It's not because you weren't good enough last year. It's because the target keeps moving to keep you striving. It keeps you feeling inadequate. It keeps you staying where you are. And here's what I've learned sitting on the executive side of the table. Your review score often has very little to do with your actual performance. Finance sets a budget for all raises. Maybe it's 2 or 3% across the board, or an average of 2%, 2.5%. Maybe it's a pool of money that has to be divided among the staff. Your manager has to fit their evaluations into that predetermined budget. So even if you deserve a 10 or a 15% raise based on your performance, the system's only going to allow 2 or 3%. The reviews become an exercise of justifying why you can't have what you've actually earned. And here's the truly insidious part. Every review comes with expanded expectations. You're not just maintaining your current performance level. You're being asked to do more. Take on precepting new nurses, join this committee, lead this initiative, improve your documentation, enhance your patient education, stay later, come in earlier, be more flexible, more responsibilities. The same 2 or 3% raise. And here's what makes these reviews particularly soul-crushing. You can't win. You pick up extra shifts. You stay late. You come in on your days off. Your review, we appreciate your dedication, but we need to see more focus on professional development. You can't work any harder than you already are, but somehow you still fall short. You implement new systems, you improve efficiencies, you reduce errors, you review great improvements in these areas. Now let's focus on patient satisfaction scores and more committee participation. The target moves as soon as you hit it. Even if you get the highest performance rating possible, you'll probably still only get 3 or 4, possibly 5% budgeted increase. Excellent performance and adequate performance receive essentially the same compensation. So why are you trying to excel when adequate gets you the same result? Many review systems have ratings like meets expectations or exceeds expectations, but the dirty secret is that exceeds expectation often comes with almost impossible requirements. And worse than this is once you exceed those expectations, that now becomes the new baseline. Next year, doing the same excellent work is now going to meet expectations because you've proven now that you can do it. Some reviews compare you to your colleagues, but this can create toxic environments where everyone is competing instead of collaborating. Plus, it's often arbitrary. It's different managers rate differently. Different units have different standards. You could be an excellent nurse on a struggling unit and rate lower than adequate if you move to a high-performing unit, simply because of the comparison group. And let's talk about what these annual reviews actually do to nurses psychologically. Many nurses struggle with feeling like they're not good enough. Annual reviews that focus on your deficiencies, they reinforce that feeling we already have. You walk out thinking, I'm not doing enough. I need to try harder, even though you're already giving everything you have. When you're told you need to do more while being compensated less in real terms, literally, if you get a 3% raise and inflation was 5%, you're getting paid less, but you need to do more. What happens? Burnout accelerates. You feel unappreciated, undervalued, exhausted. One of our Catalyst clients told me that she, in her last hospital review, she was basically at a breaking point. She was raising a toddler. She was working full time. She was already stretched super thin, and they told her she was doing great, but needed to take on more leadership responsibilities with no additional compensation or any reduction in patient load. And she realized that she just couldn't keep giving more for less. And there's something deeply demoralizing about having your worth reduced to percentages and check boxes on a standardized form. About having a year of dedication, of expertise and patient care evaluated in a 30-minute or less meeting by someone who may not have worked a bedside shift with you in years or possibly ever. Someone who's likely never worked at your side when it mattered most. You're not a percentage. You're not a checkbox. You're a skilled professional out there saving lives. And the worst part, many nurses stay because they feel trapped. The benefits, the retirement, the seniority, the what if I can't find something better? So you endure another review. You accept another inadequate raise. You take on more responsibilities and tell yourself next year's going to be different. Now, let me tell you about a completely different reality. One where your performance review happens every single time you complete a case. In my legal nurse consulting business, here's how performance reviews work. I complete a case. I deliver exceptional work product to the attorney. The attorney says, this is excellent. Here are 2 more cases for you. That's my performance review. Immediate, clear, directly tied to the value that I provided. Or what if my work's not up to standard? Either I don't get any more cases or the attorney tells me immediately, I fix it. I learn. I do better for next time. No waiting a year for feedback. No vague improvements that are suggested for me to make. It's immediate and it's actionable feedback. In legal nurse consulting, when you take on more responsibility, more cases, you get paid more. You want to manage subcontractors? That in and of itself is additional revenue. You want to handle more complex cases? Higher fees. You want to add expert witnessing services? That commands premium rates. More responsibility equals more compensation. What a concept, right? Instead of waiting a year for recognition, you get immediate feedback. An attorney thanks you for helping them when you help them understand like complex medical issues in a case, or a case settles favorably for a large part because of your analysis. An attorney refers you to a colleague because your work is so dang good. You receive payment that reflects your actual value. Instead of having standards set by administrators who literally may not understand clinical realities, you set your standards based on your experience, your expertise, and your values. You decide what quality means. You decide what cases you take. You decide how much you work. You decide what you make and what you're worth. So here's where you are. Annual review season is likely here or coming soon. You're going to sit through another meeting where you're told all the ways you need to improve while being offered an insulting merit increase that doesn't keep pace with inflation. You're going to be asked to take on more responsibilities for essentially the same compensation. You're going to walk out feeling not quite good enough again, not quite appreciated still, not quite valued forever. So here's the question. How many more of these reviews are you willing to endure? How many more years are you going to accept 2 to 3% raises while inflation erodes your buying power? How many more times are you going to let someone else define your worth and find you wanting? And I know what you're thinking, but what if I try something new, Randy, and I fail? What if I can't make it work? What if I'm not good enough? Those are the exact thoughts that's keeping you sitting through annual review year after year after year, accepting inadequate compensation year after year after year, feeling not quite good enough year after year. Let me ask you something. If you're already feeling like you're not measuring up in your hospital job despite working incredibly hard, what do you really have to lose by trying something different? At least in legal nurse consulting, if you work harder and smarter, you make dramatically more money. Your performance review is immediate and directly tied to the value you created. Your worth isn't determined by budgeting constraints or standardized forms. In Catalyst Coaching and Mentoring, we teach nurses how to build legal nurse consulting businesses where your value is determined by the market, by your work, not by budget committees, where your performance is evaluated constantly through client relationships, not once a year in some demoralizing meeting. Your compensation, it increases dramatically when you excel, not by predetermined percentages. And your responsibilities expand only when you choose to take them on, and they come with corresponding increases in income. Inside Catalyst, we're going to provide you with technical training to ensure your work is excellent, business training to help you get clients and to get paid what you're worth, marketing systems to build relationships with attorney clients who value your expertise, community support from nurses who've made this transition successfully already, and ongoing mentorship to help you navigate all the challenges you're going to face. Imagine never having to sit through another soul-crushing annual review. Imagine being valued for your expertise instead of evaluated by checklists. Imagine your compensation reflecting your worth. Listen, that's not a fantasy. That's the reality of hundreds of our Catalyst clients who have decided they were done accepting inadequate appreciation and compensation. So, what's your next move? Check out our free introductory training where I show you exactly how to transition from hospital nursing to legal nurse consulting entrepreneurship and learn how to build a business where your worth is recognized, your expertise is valued, and your compensation reflects your contributions. That link is in the description below. You don't have to sit through another demoralizing review, guys. You don't have to accept another insulting merit increase. You don't have to keep feeling like you're not measuring up, when the truth is you're exceeding expectations every single day. Your next performance review could be an attorney saying, "This work is excellent. Here's 3 more cases." Wouldn't that be a nice change? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.